our distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor and privilege for me to welcome you at this double purpose meeting. First, to celebrate the anniversary of Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and secondly, to pay homage to Vietnam Human Rights Award recipients. And just like the past 8 years, we are combining the two events in one celebration. But this is the first time we bring the event to Washington, D.C. And also this is the first time we celebrate the International Human Rights Day exactly on the birthday of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the 10th of December. Ladies and gentlemen, since its inception, the Declaration of Human Rights has gained support from people around the world. Most of the countries have ratified the declaration, including the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Even though being a signatory, the government of Vietnam has shown total disrespect to its citizens' basic rights, including civil, political, and social rights. And numerous state, NGOs, and individuals have expressed their concern about the Vietnam government arbitrary detention and imprisonment of the people who only exercise their fundamental rights. This year alone, in addition to about 10 dissidents arrested and imprisoned without trial, Hanoi stepped up with its terrorizing tactics against cheerleaders, dissidents, ethnic minorities group, and independent workers movement. Today, while celebrating the birth of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, we together express our outrage at Vietnam arbitrary detention of its citizens and their arrogant brutality, especially in the light of the detention of Tân Khai Tân Thuy and the harassment of Pastor Nguyen Quang Trinh, the two awardees today. And through this recognition of the valuable work of those awardees, the Vietnam Human Rights Network wants to honor thousands of anonymous human rights defenders daily involved in the difficult and often perilous work to promote and protect the Vietnamese people's fundamental rights. Lastly, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my most heartfelt appreciation to everybody for helping us especially elected officials and partners organizations. Without your help, we could not have achieved our just causes. So please continue to help us to make this country of human and peaceful Vietnam to be a reality. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
At this time, I would like to introduce some of our co-organizers. Besides the National Congress of Vietnamese Americans and also the Vietnam Human Rights Network, we have co-sponsors. First of all, Mr. Do Hong An from the Vietnamese community of DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Both People SOS Committee, I wonder whether someone is here. Not yet. International Committee for Support of the Nonviolent Movement in Vietnam. Dr. Nguyễn Thế Bình, can you stand up, please? Thank you. Vietnamese American Voters Association, myself. Voice of Vietnamese American Envy. Vâng Anh? Okay, thank you. Committee for Religious Freedom in Vietnam, Mrs. Ngô Thị Hiền. Thank you. Excuse me, Senator Sam Brownback, at this time I would like to invite you to come up and say a few words, and Mr. Nguyen Ngọc Bích is going to introduce you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have in front of you one of the senators who's one of the great supporters of human rights in Vietnam. In the past, he's one of the strongest voices in the Senate speaking on the question of human rights in Vietnam. He has introduced legislation about that, and I think we hope that he'll be supporting still this Vietnam Human Rights Act 2009 so that it become a reality. At this time, may I introduce to you Senator Sam Brownback.
Thank you very much. Thank you all very much. You're very kind to invite me. Thank you very much. You honor me by allowing me to speak here today on Human Rights, International Human Rights Day. And we all know that there are not human rights operating in Vietnam. And I appreciate it that you're not going to rest until there are human rights in Vietnam. And you're going to keep pushing that until they have human rights in Vietnam. And as we speak here, Father Lee is still in prison, recovering from a stroke. Not the right place to be recovering from a stroke. And our thoughts and our prayers are with him. But that's not enough. We're going to keep pushing and acting until he's out of jail. And that he is released and free. And I understand that recently the Australian government has now stepped up as well and calling for his release from prison. And we're going to continue to push this aggressively. And you need to keep your voices going, because it's your voices that give them voice. They can't speak, they can't be heard, but you can be heard. And so your strong voice and your pushing on these really speaks for those who can't be heard. And we need to continue that. You inspire me by your stories. How many of you came over on the boat lift, which took place a number of years ago? How many were boat people? Oh, wow. That many were on the boats? Wow. That was such an encouraging chapter for as far as receiving people in the United States. Welcome to the United States. It's a few years late to welcome you here, but we're glad you're here. We're glad you're part of the country. And I'm glad you continue to push for people that were left behind, that don't have the rights that you have. Because it's one thing to come here and, okay, you've got the freedom then, and a lot of people can just say, well, I'm going to go on and I'm not going to look back. But what you're doing is speaking for those that were left behind, that weren't able to make it. And that is really precious that you do it. We're working now in our office on a Vietnam human rights bill. There's a good one introduced in the House by Chris Smith, Congressman Chris Smith, that I've worked with in the past, and we're working now looking at putting that in this next year in the United States Senate. We want to see this become the law. We want to push it. We want to push it aggressively. And you folks are key on that. The regime in Vietnam remains oppressive and repressive of individuals. And unfortunately, since we no longer have the leverage of the normal trade relations on a yearly vote, they don't focus on it. The government of Vietnam doesn't focus on it much, but we need to, and we can, and you guys can in doing this. We need to continue to elevate individuals that are caught in the prison system in Vietnam and individuals that don't have freedom, like Father Lee, and continue to advocate. They put a face on what the lack of human rights is in Vietnam. They put a face on the lack of religious freedom in Vietnam. And there's numbers of groups. There's numbers of groups of Catholics, there's a number of groups of Buddhists, and others that don't have religious freedom in Vietnam in any perspective. And we need to continue to push and advocate for that in any situation and in every situation that we possibly can. So you need to continue to write your legislators, write your members of Congress, contact them, go to their offices, visit with them in person. Do everything that you can in advocating for these folks. Lift your prayers up for them. Please, they need your prayers and your advocacy that way as well. And we really hope you can continue to push and lift this cause up. It is critically important that you do that. So I'm honored to be here with you today. This next year is my last year in the United States Senate. I gave a term limits pledge that I would only serve 2 full terms. And one of the things I hope we can get across the line is the Vietnam Human Rights Act, so that we can get religious freedom and human rights for the people in Vietnam. And we're going to be pushing on that. God bless you. Thank you for your work and for your people.
Senator Brownback, we know that you are a member of the Helsinki Commission, yes, and that you are guided by the principles of democracy, free markets, and individual liberty. So you continue to pursue appropriate policies to bolster American national interests by affirming values of human rights in many parts of the world, and especially in North Korea and Vietnam. Thank you.